Alright, B'siyata Dishmaya, we are live in Shara Yichud in Tzfat Yer HaKodesh and B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. We're going to be learning today on two different topics, both from the B'yam Darkecha. One on the idea of learning together in a Chabura, which is what we're going to start with, and then we're going to pass on to the Shabbat learning, where we'll be starting to learn about Ra'ava de Ra'avin, the will of wills, the time from after your Suda of the morning on Shabbat, from Mincha onwards, right? The energy of the day, from Mincha onwards to essential learnings. Just to remind everybody, when we're talking about the idea of learning in a Chabura, we mentioned in the beginning, in the introduction, that a person who learns in the Chabura, not just this one, any Chabura, coming together to contemplate Hashem's name, when you do that, you are counted as a Choshvei Shemo, a person who thinks of the name of Hashem. And then, when the times of Geula start to get a little bit rough, then Hashem says, you thought of me throughout your life? You took time, not just your regular Torah learning, not just your davening that you have to do that anyway, that I told you to do that. You made a Chabura, you came together as friends, you sat together to think about me, and how to serve me, how to connect to me. You guys come here, chill in Tzfat, you're going to be protected completely by all of the craziness that's going to go on. You're going to make it out, you're going to see Mashiach, B'ezrat Hashem. Mamash Avtachah the book. And then we said, what is the goal? The goal of the Chabura is that we want to already establish that our will is to see our King. That's the goal, right? To live it, that when I have an arousal of anger, I know what to do. We talked about the idea of sumira v'asetov, go away from negativity and do the right thing, right? Do something positive. And that once the path was always sumira v'asetov, and then the Baal Shem Tov came and flipped it, and asetov v'sumira. Right? There's a higher level of running away from bad all the time and fighting with the bad. Is doing good. Use that negative energy that you think is a negative energy. Really, it's the light of Hashem. Cover it up in the midah of anger. Break through that anger and use that to elevate your midot and to come closer to Hashem. Do something proactive with the energy. Don't just try to fight it and suppress it. Use it to grow in your avodat Hashem and to fix your midot. And now we're going to learn about the internal idea, the internal goal of learning in a Chabura, which is to recognize and to cling to Hashem. The truth is that this idea of l'chiyot et metziut Hashem yitbarach v'yichudo, to live the reality of Hashem and His yichud and His unity, it's not just some path that a person goes on, that by way of it you'll be successful in doing your avodah. That is the goal. The goal is to live with Hashem. Excuse me, L'chaim. It's not just the tool; it's the goal. It's what you're trying to do. And even more so, all of the mitzvot and all of the avodah are tools. They're the tools that, by way of them, we can get to the true goal of life, which is to be successful, to live out the reality of Hashem with us at all moments. The goal is not to put on tefillin. The goal is to use tefillin to live with Hashem all throughout your day, when the tefillin is also off. Right? All the halachot and everything, they're not the main thing. Let's not make Shulchan Aruch into the goal is Hashem. The goal is to be unified with Hashem at any given moment. The main inclusive mitzvah of the Torah is dveikut. Try your best to cleave to Hashem, right? Because this is what Hashem's asking for us. And this is why He created us. That we'll be able to recognize Him and to cling to Him in this world and the world to come, like it says in the Midrash Tanchuma, in Parashat Naso, which was 2 weeks ago, that the reason that Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world is because Hashem desired that He should have a dwelling place here in the lower realms. That's Hashem. That's why Hashem created this world, this low world. Like it's written in the Zohar, He created your world so that your godliness should be recognized. And unfortunately for us, it could be that a person serves Hashem, he learns Torah, he prays, he asks Hashem what he needs, but his perception is, his outlook is, so to say, I'm here in the land and Hashem is up there in heaven. And a person like this, even though externally it seems like he's serving Hashem, the truth is he's very, 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 very far from the purpose that he came to the world for. We weren't brought to this world to think that Hashem's up there and He has nothing to do with down here. And when we need something, we just ask for Him. like it's an ATM. It's this place that you go to. Khalila. It's funny, but like it's, and we see this. כי רצונו של בורא העולם הוא שתהיה לו דירה כאן בתחתונים. Hashem's will, the creator of the world, his will is that he should have a dwelling place down here in the lower realms. And this is expressed by way of a person living it with feelings, with emotions. Hashem is here, he's here with me, he's amongst me. Hashem Yitbarach is who's acting through me, everything that's going on in my life. There's nothing true that's besides Hashem. And whoever lives with that recognition and with this knowledge, he goes in to live a life of dveikut and kirvat elokim litov, right? The closeness to Hashem that feels good. And this is the true purpose. And this is what Hashem asks. V'yadata hayom, right? We say this in Alinu, right? V'yadata hayom v'ashevot levavecha ki Adonai hu ha'elohim b'shamayim mimal v'la'aretz mitachat ein od. Right? You shall know today. We always say this. Every Jew knows that Hashem exists. Right? Every Jew knows the world was created by Hashem Yitbarach and that He's involved in our life. How much we manage to get that message from here to here, that's literally why we were brought into this world. Right? Knowing Hashem, we all know Hashem. The person that davens, the person that doesn't daven, we all know Hashem exists. We all know Hashem is here. We know it. Whether you feel it or not, that's the question. Right? So here, this is mamash what we say every time in Alinu. You knew it today, and you returned it to your heart. Ki Adonai hu Elohim, that the transcendent one, He is what you're experiencing in nature. What you're going through in reality is a Kadosh Baruch Hu that's beyond anything that you can describe and understand. No name, no limitation, no nothing. That Yud Kei Vav Kei, that's beyond everything. That Malei Rachamim, filled with mercy. That is exactly the storm you're in, the car accident, the crazy things that you're going through, and the good that you're going through. That's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu. B'shamayim imal, up in the heavens, v'al ha'aretz mitachat, and on the earth down below, ein od, there's nothing besides Hashem. V'divrei Yamim, in the Chronicles it says, Omer David HaMelech Shlomo beno. David HaMelech says to King Shlomo, Da et Elohei avicha v'avdeu. Know the God of your father and serve Him. Belev shalem uvanefesh chefetza, with a complete heart and a desiring soul. Ki chol levavot doresh Hashem, because all the hearts are seeking is Hashem. That's David HaMelech's advice to the smartest person to ever live. Arei lanu shezeh tzivui mefurash. This is a clear commandment. She'Hashem doresh meitanu ledat oto. Hashem wants us ledat oto. Dat, okay? Dat is the word. Now let's try to explain it in English. Dat is knowledge. Dat really means connection, right? Hashem wants a relationship with you, right? Adam yada et Chava. Adam knew Eve, meaning that they were intimate. They knew each other, right? Hashem wants that relationship with us. The idea of dat is dveikut. It's connection. Meaning to feel every single moment that I'm connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the goal of our whole entire life, and that's the main inner goal of why we come together in a Chabura. Up until now is the Chabura learning, and now into Shabbat Kodesh of B'yam Darkecha, Rava de Ra'avin, the will of wills. After all of the night of Shabbat, where we yearned, in the morning of Shabbat, where we were nullified with the light of Hashem, now we're getting to the moment of the will of wills, that there's a revelation of the light of Keter, Or HaYichud HaShalem. The complete light of unity comes down. And in this powerful time, from Mincha until the end of Shabbat, there is an illumination to every single Jew, to the depths of his Pnimiyut, to the most deepest parts of his inner chambers, in a fashion that you recognize that everything is from Hashem and there's nothing besides Hashem, and all of the creations are just vessels to reveal Hashem, and they're not separate by themselves. They are the way, the vehicle that Hashem reveals His infinite light in this low-level world. And these holy souls of Am Yisrael are aroused at the time of Mincha, of Sudas Lishit, to desire Hashem from a recognition that there's nothing besides Him in the world, to want only to do His will, to seek after Him in a way that you're living it. Your mamash, all of your vitality, all of your pleasure is just from connection to Hashem and from serving Hashem in all of the ways that you can. Any way that you can connect to Him, any way that you can know Hashem, do it. And on this level of high light, a person recognizes that he's a vehicle to reveal the light of Hashem, and then he starts to feel a wonderful, pleasant delight to be a vessel to the Creator of the world, so that the light of the Infinite is passing through him, and it's being revealed into the world by way of him. And by way of this, a person can go do his Avodat Hashem throughout the whole entire brand new week that's coming up, and to ascend higher and higher and higher, and to not get stuck in the rotation, but to understand that there's more and more happening. I'm getting higher and higher and closer and closer. So what's the essence of the work of this moment of Rava de Ravin? The light of Keter is the ascension of all of Shabbat happens at this moment. The time of Mincha, the time of the will of wills, the desire of desires, so to say. That Hashem Yitbarach reveals the light of Keter into the world. Shalom Aleichem. The inner aspect of Keter is the divine will, meaning, welcome Yaakov, welcome to the Hebrew. At this time of Mincha onwards, there's a revelation of the root of the will of Hashem. Right? Ratzon, in Keter you have two main ideas. One is called Ta'anug, pleasure, right? Delight. And the other is will, the desire. The highest point is the pleasure, and that creates the desire, right? So now we're getting into the root of the desire that's rooted in Keter. This deepest desire that Hashem has, the true will, which is why Hashem created everything that we know. And that is to reveal Hashem's yichud, His oneness to His creations, in order for them to cling to Hashem, letov lehem, for the good and for their own good. Therefore, in this time, that is the ascension, the highest point of Shabbat, the climax of Shabbat, Hashem is revealing His oneness and His reality in a very immense revelation to make it known to us, and that it should be known, she'en od milvado, there's nothing besides HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Therefore the souls of Israel are pulled magnetically after Hashem, and they're feeling this feeling of Anu rotzim rak otcha, all we want is you, Hashem, because you're the only truth of life, and there's nothing at all in this world besides you. And these souls are aroused to want Hashem from a recognition that there's nothing besides Him, to only want to do Hashem's will, to seek after Him. This is your whole entire vitality, like we said. And so what's the avoda now in this time? To work on your ratzon. From Mincha onwards on Shabbat, you're dealing mainly with ratzon, with your inner wills. What do you want currently? What should you be wanting? Aligning your will more with Hashem's will, so that He makes your will His will. Right, like Chazal say. That's the goal from Mincha onwards on Shabbat. Ratzon hazeh shemitorer achshav. Now that it's being aroused, this idea of ratzon from Hashem. Ratzon chazak pnimi. And again, we have to break it down. Whenever we talk about Hashem having desire or ratzon or anything like that, whatever that means for Hashem, we don't know. We can only understand what's revealed to us, right? We can only ever understand anything from our perspective. So whatever we feel from Hashem at that moment, Chachamim explain to us that's the feeling of what we know as ratzon. So it's as if Hashem has a ratzon, has a will. Right? We don't know what that really means, because a will usually for human beings means you have a lack. Right? I lack something, so I will it, I want it. Right? But for Hashem we can't say that. So just to keep that in mind when we're talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this illumination that comes at this time is such a strong will. And the depth of it, Ratzon Amiti Shel Neshmot Yisrael, the true will that the souls of Israel have inside of them. Because by way of this light of Rava de Ravin, there's an arousal right now of the deepest point of the nefesh, the point inside of you that seeks out the truth of Hashem at every given moment. Because the truth is, every single Jew deep down inside of him, he only wants Hashem. He wants to take immense pleasure and delight in the radiance of Hashem's Shekhinah, because Hashem is everything. And this is our work right now. Ratzon. Ratzon. Meaning, leratzot et Hashem Yitbarach, to want Hashem. Liot chazak beratzon hazeh, to be strong in this will. To go after Hashem with all my might. And to make a decision that I'm going to be moser nefesh. I'm going to self-sacrifice against all of the things that are opposing me on this goal. And all of the different tests and trials and tribulations that I'm going to, everybody according to their level and the situation that they find themselves in. Like it's written, Bechol derachecha de'eu. In all of your ways you have to know Hashem. And this thing, it's not only for the tzaddikim. This work is not only for the tzaddikim Ratzon. Every single person according to where they're at can take upon himself to go forward a little bit, to make a little bit of progress, to want. And if you can't do it, like Rabbi Natan of Breslov said, you have to want to want. And if you can't do that, you have to want to want to want. Rabbi Natan knew what he was talking about. Sometimes we don't want good things. We don't want to do the right thing. Okay, do you want to want it? Let's say. But sometimes we have to really go, I don't want it, and I don't even want to want it. But I want to want it. Right? This is not stam a joke. This is Mosh Chassidus written down. This is Torah, This is really what we're talking about here. It's not only for the tzaddikim. Every single person should go a little bit further, push themselves, get out of your comfort zone. A little bit more. To go closer to the place, come closer to Kadosh Baruch Hu. That my will should only be to be connected to Hashem. Because right now, that there's this light of Hashem that's revealed in such a powerful clarity. We're receiving such strength. We're receiving the ability to actually do it. To take upon ourselves, I'm going to be Moser Nefesh in the next week with my connection to Hashem. I'm going to pick one thing that I'm not going to let it mess with me. That one thing, even if I fail in it, I want it. Right? I'm going to try. I'm going to put in the effort. I'm going to be Moser Nefesh. Outcomes are outcomes. We've already learned about that many times in this Kabura. We don't work on outcomes, right? We work on effort and we work off intention. My intention is there and my effort is there. That's all that matters. I'm going to fight though. I'm going to fight with Mesirut Nefesh. Everything that's trying to push me away from Hashem, it's war. It's war. So what's Rava de Ravin? By way of this revelation, there's a shlemut, there's a completion that comes down, that this is the reason that the whole entire world was created. And that is that Hashem desired that He should have a dwelling place here in the lower realms. Because Hashem reveals His light to the creations. Until you get to a point where they don't want anything, just Him. There should be a dwelling of Hashem amongst us, and there should be a revelation to us. Therefore, in this time, it's called Rava de Ravin, the will of wills, the deepest desire you have. The true desire of Hashem, that He wants to be revealed down here in the most proper way. At this time, Hashem is illuminating a light so powerful that this causes the souls of Israel to recognize that there is nothing besides Hashem, Enod bin Vado, until the point where they only want Hashem. And they recognize, everybody recognizes that there's nothing separate from Hashem. They're all just parts of the revelation of the light of Hashem, the light of the infinite. And by way of this, the supernal will, the deepest ratzon, the ratzon elyon, it will be that Hashem had a desire, had a ta'ava, right? He had this lust, so to say, in a holy sense, right? Obviously, it's Kadosh Baruch Hu, that He should have a dwelling place down here in the lower realms. That is why He created the world. So if you can get now to a point where Hashem is revealing so much light to you, that you want to reveal Him in this world and you want to be connected to His revelation in the world, creation is being completed at that moment. That's the idea. So the light that's being illuminated then, which is the light of will, the original will, the light of the infinite light that wants to be revealed down here in the finite world, in the deepest sense, without any concealments. And this light causes the souls of Israel that there should be a more internal revelation, that their inner will should be revealed. And their inner will, what's the inner will of every single Jewish soul? All I want is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All I want is Hashem. And then, Aratzon Elyon, the supernal will, is completed, that Hashem should have a dwelling place down here. And that is the rectified version of the world. That everybody should be trying to do that. And then we have an idea that all of the dinim are mitbatlim. All of the din is nullified. At this time, there's no din, there's no concealments, there's just a revelation, Aratzon Atov Shel Hashem Yitbarach, of the good divine will of Hashem. And the creations will reveal Hashem. They won't be a astara, they won't be someone that conceals, right? Usually a human being could, on nature's course, reveal Hashem, conceal Hashem. And it's me that did it, it's him that did it. There's a whole bunch of different individual people here, I don't see Hashem. But now at this point, everybody's actually revealing a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And we're able to be revealed, included inside of Him. And all of the masks and walls that prevent us from feeling Hashem's oneness are starting to be nullified. So then all the deen, all the judgments, all the concealments that we have of the weekday, right? Usually they're aroused during the time of mincha. On Shabbat Kodesh, they're nullified. And there's only Rachamim and there's only Ratzon. Mincha is the time of Yitzchak. It's the time of Din. Usually during your day, you get to Mincha, there's a arousal of Din in the world. By the way, beautiful sunsets with really red and everything. Zohar says, Din, 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 Din. Don't sit there with your wife looking at the red sky. It's Din. It's a revelation of Din in the world, and you're like, wow, it's so beautiful. So maybe there's a deep secret. There's a deep sense where you could maybe get there, but it's a dangerous avodah, right? If you really think about it, it's not the most romantic thing. But on Shabbat Kodesh, at that time, at the time of Mincha, now already there's only Rachamim, only Ratzon. Because all of the sins, all of the times we messed up, they give power, God forbid, to the Klippa. They say according to the Din, the light of Hashem should be covered up, should be concealed. You acted in a certain way, you covered up the light of Hashem in the world, it should be covered up for you, God forbid. The whole entire week, this Anhaga is according to the Mishpat HaRaui. The Maaseh HaTachtonim before, how you acted is how you're going to be judged. It's Din, right? Ramchal talks about this a lot. It's all throughout Kabbalah, really. Is what's called Anhagat HaMishpat. The way that the world goes, the way of justice, the justice system that Hashem sent up into the world of action and consequence, right? And then there's Anhagat HaYichud, the Anhaga of unity, of the oneness of Hashem that Hashem's revealed in every level of life, right? So during Anhagat HaMishpat, this is how it is. How you act is how you're going to be treated, right? And so to say, if they, so to say, ignore Hashem, then it causes that the Anhaga should be in a way that Hashem ignores them. You want to look away from Hashem, Hashem's going to look away from you, because that's how the system's set up. But right now, in this time of a revelation of the divine will of Hashem that's being revealed to us in such a depth, there's such an illumination, there's such an arousal inside the hearts of Israel towards Hashem. And they say, all we want is just you, Hashem. And we take immense pleasure on the truthness that is Hashem. And we recognize that all of the concealments, all of this world is vanity. It's all a lie. It's not true. And by way of this, the Enod Milvado, this idea that comes down, you see that there's not really any sins here. Because the internal will, the supreme will inside, Am Yisrael is completely good. In the deepest sense, if you want to go down to my Ratzon, I'm completely good. In the depth of my heart, all we want is Hashem. Every Jew just wants Hashem. That's the truth. That's the most core truth that you have. And there you see that all of the sins, what were they? They weren't real. They really pushed me away from Hashem. They really made distance between me and Hashem. That's all chitzoni, that's all external. I'm constantly 24/7 trying to connect to Hashem. And where do you see this? Oftentimes, God forbid, lo aleinu, when a Jew is coming to get killed, whether he's a Jew or not, whether he lived like a religious Jew and a connected Jew throughout his life or not, usually a Shema Yisrael comes out, I'm a Jew, and I'm going to die a Jew comes out. Right? You had that journalist that got killed by Daesh, by ISIS. What did he say? A Jewish journalist working for the Washington Post or whatever it was. He was not religious at all.
Daniel Pearl.
And what happened in the end? He said, I'm a Jew and I'm going to die a Jew. They wanted him to convert on video and everything. Boom. Killed. Where did that come from? His deepest will is already being revealed. The person before they die, all of their neshama is being revealed into their body. They have such clarity. What came out? I'm a Yid, I'm going out a Yid. You're going to kill me, Muhammad, but I'm not becoming one of you. Right? Because I can't. So you see that this is a very, very deepest, our deepest point of us is oneness with Hashem. It just takes some time. And also you have this from the Rambam. Rambam says, if a person, we can't force a get, right? A man has to sign off on the divorce. You can't force him. Rambam says, you can beat him until he says, I want to. You can beat him until he says, Hotzeani. But beating is forcing. It's coercion. No. Because Rambam says, he really wants to. You just have to get to the layer of himself that he says he does. Meaning we all want it, our inner core. That's from Halacha, the most crazy example, right? But it's the same inyan. We have klipot, we have things that externally separate us from our truth, from our most inner truth. Sometimes we have to beat them up. We have to get rid of them to reveal that nikudah where we want it. For the Jew that's getting killed, lo aleinu, for the guy that doesn't want to divorce his wife, it's all true. We want to do what Hashem wants us to do. Last little idea here, we're going to stop for here. We didn't finish the chapter, but the last thing is the 13 midot of Rachamim. The 13 midot of Rachamim, which by the way, the Chesed Avraham says are revealed to everybody that's living in Tzfat all year long.
Who says this?
Chesed Avraham, he was one of the students of Rav Chaim Vital and the 7th generation grandfather of the Chidah Kadosh. And he says that everybody that lives in Tzfat, since Tzfat is Gematria 21, like the name Ekye, which is rooted in Keter. There is a revelation of the 13 midot of Rachamim Gmurim, complete Rachamim, complete mercy, revealed to the dwellers of Tzfat all year long.
Wow.
So what your friends say, Amelech Basadeh, the kings in the field of Elu, that is the 12-month, 13-month reality of Tzfat Yer Kodesh all the time. According to your level, you'll tap into it, right? And that's why you have to grow in this city. You have to be pushed, because the other side of Tzfat is Gematria Netzach. So you have to push, you have to be Menatzach, you have to be perseverant, you have to keep going and not let the other sides that are trying to prevent you from that goal from bringing you down. But what does he say here? Sitracha. At this holy time, there's an arousal of the Yud Gimel Midot HaRachamim, these 13 attributes of mercy of Hashem, that the idea is revelation of the inner truth without any concealment. Meaning that there's a revelation of the light of Hashem as it is internally, without the concealments of externality. And this good light arouses the inner souls of the nation of Israel, and then there's a revelation that Am Yisrael are completely good. Am Yisrael at our core were completely good, because that point inside of us is revealed, and they have no grasp on the true reality of the negativity that they're doing. We're not holding on to the negativity; it's external to us. And then all of the deen is ameliorated. All of the judgments are sweetened up. The deen can't cause negative things to come down for us. If you guys want, we can push. We can finish this in 10 minutes, and then we're done with the idea, and we go into mincha next time we learn. Or what time is it? What do you guys say? A few more voices? Yes? No? Yeah, we're good. Anybody? Yeah, tell me. So what's the reason that Lirtzot v'litaneg, to want and to take pleasure, right? We said that in Keter there's these two makeups: pleasure, delight, and desire. And the desire comes after the anticipation of the pleasure that's going to come. When a person merits to get to true will, and he recognizes that there's nothing true outside of Hashem, then his truth is, this truth establishes him and puts him in a point where he only wants only Hashem. He only wants to do Hashem's will, until he doesn't have inside of his head any other purpose. He doesn't think about other goals, end goals. All he thinks about is serving Hashem and to do Hashem's will in every facet of my life. The complete light of Keter, the completion of this light in its perfect way is that a person really wants Hashem, and all he really wants is Hashem. Then Hashem Yitbarach brings His light onto that person. If you really, really want it, to the point of Mesirut Nefesh, Hashem's light now comes back down on you. You sent up a light, Hashem sends down light. And how much you merit to this will, to this ratzon, that the whole entire reality of a person should be a vessel to serve and to want Hashem, on a level of Mesirut Nefesh, so too he'll merit to the more inner aspects of Keter, which is this Ashra Elokit Sheshoreh Adam, this godly presence that rests on a person. And now the godly light is being revealed by way of you, with immense pleasure. Meaning you feel great that you were chosen for the Shekhinah to be resting on you, and for you to be a lighthouse for the Shekhinah. The more clean a person is from ego, and he establishes himself to just be a vessel for Hashem's light in the world. So too Hashem reveals His light by way of him, and reveals it and rests His Shekhinah upon him. And this person becomes a vehicle for expression of the Shekhinah, the presence of Hashem in the world. And this light is revealed by way of you in all of your essence and in all of your actions. And this is what's called Dira B'Tachtonim. This is what it means that Hashem desired for Him to have a dwelling place in the lower realms. It's you, that everything you do screams Hashem, 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 not Johnny, 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 or Eliyahu, Eliyahu. It says no, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? And when a person merits to this, everyone according to his level, and everybody can do this, tap into this throughout his life. Not in perfection, but right, there's levels to this. And this godly light is dwelling on a person, and then he merits to take immense pleasure in the light of Hashem, this wonderful light of Hashem, because the whole entire idea of pleasure, of ta'anuk, of delight, is a connection of my neshama with the light of Hashem. That's really where it's rooted in. Right? It's rooted in. The root of your neshama is the light of Hashem. When your neshama experiences the light of Hashem, whether it's by way of a burger, tefillah, being with your wife, walking down the street, no matter what kind of pleasure you experience, if you can translate the physical pleasure you're going through, or even the spiritual pleasure you're going through, to a connection of your neshama tapping into its source, to its root, that's what pleasure is. And therefore, at the time that you merit for this complete connection, to be a vehicle to reveal the light of Hashem, and you merit that this light dwells upon you, this is such an immense pleasure. Because you are trying to connect to the light. The light is now coming to be expressed by way of you. There's a chibur, there's a yichud, and it feels great. V'asherat lui bekach. The fact that Hashem's light dwells on you, it depends on this. That a person doesn't want to linok chiyut midvarim achirim, that he doesn't try to pull life force and to get his sustenance and his vitality from other things. Where do you get your sustenance? Where do you get everything of your vitality, your money, your energy, your vitamins, your everything? Where do you get it from? Where do you know in your head you're getting it from? Even if you use a different vehicle. And you, those of you that are cleaving to Hashem, your God, will all live today. Meaning you'll have everything you need, living, sustenance. Your sustenance will be provided every single day because you're clinging to Hashem. And you're keeping the mitzvah of choosing life, to choose to cling to the source of life, because according to the relativity and the level of your bitul, of your nullification to Hashem, and your dvekut, and your will and your desire to connect to Hashem, so too you merit for the light to come by way of you and for you to be able to hold more and to express more in the world. What is the reason sometimes though that we feel darkness in this time of Rava de Ravin, of the end of Shabbat, Sudah Shlishit, Mincha? We already feel something's up here, right? The energy's changed a bit since last night for sure, and since the morning for sure. There's people that specifically at this time of Sudah Shlishit, they have a big problem. They feel darkness, they feel hardships, and even in the night of Shabbat, they merited to have they had illumination. Now already, by the time of Rabat de Ravin, they're already feeling this koshi, this hardship. What's the reason? Since this light of Keter is very, very lofty, it's the highest sphere that you got, then whoever doesn't have the vessels to be able to hold it, he receives it in a very, very hard and dark way. This is a big principle he puts in a footnote. Every light comes to a Jew bizman shu tzarich lagia, in the time it needs to come. Light will only be sent to you when Hashem sees fit that the light will be sent to you. But if the person doesn't have the vessels to be able to absorb that light and to receive from that light, then he receives it in a way that appears as if it's darkness and hardship. This is the principle, he says, across the board. Any light, meaning any interaction and revelation of Hashem towards you, it comes at the right time. But if you're not prepared, if you don't have the way to hold it, which by the way is Torah, mitzvot, and maasim tovim, Torah, tefillah, and matzot, right? Using physical things and learning pshat things that make your actual physical life be able to hold the light that's being brought through you, right? That your actions are what express the light. So your actions are the vehicle which determines how much light you can have. And if you have the ability to do actions that can reveal a powerful light, you'll be able to do that. But if you're trying to download a big light and you're not doing the actions, then you're going to get broken. If a person's wise, then he understands that what he feels darkness, it doesn't mean that he didn't receive the light. Even more so, he received it, but it's coming up in a different shade of the rainbow, in a more darker color. Because right now, specifically by way of the darkness, he will be able to acquire it and to comprehend the light. And when a person knows this, then he doesn't kick away the hardships he's experiencing in life. Rather, he gives in. He subdues himself, he submits himself to the will of Hashem, and he tries his hardest to hold on during the dark times. From a place of, I'm nullifying myself, I'm not giving up, I'm going to have misirut nefesh, I don't know what's going to be, but I'm going to wait until this light opens up for me. It's just a little bit of darkness to get me a lot of light. If I hold on right now and I make sure I do what I need to do, I put in my 3 tefillot, I say my brachot, I do what I have to do. Not to be now Baba Sali. No, just to be me. On the level that I've been holding at for the past 2 weeks, let's keep there. Right? If I can hold on to that level, ride the wave, the light will be opened up for me. And a person should never ever be startled or broken and to think that he's not receiving the light. He has to know that this hardship, it itself is the form and the way that Hashem wants to reveal Himself to you right now. And if you go to it in this proper fashion, then afterwards you'll have a big, big light. The illumination will be that much stronger. Lemaaseh, practically, what did we learn today? You have to go into Mesirut Nefesh. Not today, in general. So I'm saying now, in this time that you're having a hard time, right? Sometimes you don't feel it. At the end of Shabbat, it's like, or any time in life. What do you do practically? You go into a mode of Mesirut Nefesh, self-sacrifice. I'm going to fight right now. It's life or death right now. It's life or death right now. Not of getting startled, of I'm not giving up, I realize I'm being attacked, I'm gonna stand ground right now. I want Hashem even though He doesn't want me right now, even though I don't have light right now, even though it's dark for me right now, I want you, Hashem. And you strengthen yourself to talk to Hashem, to pour out your heart in front of Hashem, with words, with songs, beg Him. Yedid nefesh avarachaman meshoch avdecha el retzonecha. Yedid nefesh, we sing this at Suda Shishit. My beloved soul. Hashem Yitbarach, Avarachaman, merciful Father. What do we say? Meshoch avdecha el retzonecha. Pull your servant towards your will. We're talking about ratzon, a will. I don't have the will. Hashem, pull me towards the will. V'yisaper lo shenafshi cholat avatecha. The rest of Yedid Nefesh says, my soul, my body, my nefesh is lovesick for you, Hashem. And you ask Hashem, Anael refana la, please Hashem, heal her. Like we just had this week's parasha. Moshe prayed for his sister. The light of the will of wills is to know and to see that Hashem is one in His whole entire world. And if that's how it is, then all I want is Hashem. And on this level, you can get to a place where you feel the light and you have a clear comprehension that you can also get to by way of feeling hardship. It doesn't have to come with shirim v'tishpachot. You can come from a place of feeling really real darkness and knowing that Hashem's there too. That right now, because you don't have the vessel, you're still receiving light, but it has to come down this way. Because if it were to come down in La La Land, you might not keep the next Shabbat, or you might not, whatever it is, right? Right now it's coming from a hard way because Hashem really wants you to recognize that He's also in the darkness, and then you'll have even more light when you get out of it. Meaning, by way of you strengthening yourself at the time where you feel darkness, you say to yourself, Hashem Yitbarach is only one in His world. He is unity, He is oneness, and there's no other reality than what I feel right now, far from Hashem. It's not even true, it can't be true. Because Hashem is reality, Hashem is the world, and all of my reality is just a part of His. Then it can't be that I'm far from Him. I only exist by way of being connected to Him as close as possible. So the fact that I feel far at the end of Shabbat, it's not even true. And it must be that this is just a test, you say to yourself, to see if I understand that Hashem is with me in every single situation in my life. And it can't be that He'll abandon me. Therefore, I'm taking upon myself right now, Mesirut Nefesh, self-sacrifice, to continue to want Hashem with all my might. And I want only Hashem, and I know that there is nothing besides Hashem, and Hashem is the only true good, and the only true pleasure. That's the teaching. To wrap it up, the light of Ra'ava de Ravin, this will of wills, is a revelation of the oneness of Hashem in the world. And all of the creation is just a vessel to reveal Hashem's light. Different fashions of revelation. And what is the Avodah L'Maaseh? To amplify and intensify my will from an understanding that there is nothing besides Hashem. And you have to arouse your heart to want Hashem, to want dveikut with Hashem, until you feel all I want is to live with Hashem and to merit to be a vehicle to reveal His light in the world. Until you merit to taste from a level of bitul be'etzem, to get to a place where you nullify everything in the world. The person recognizes Hashem and he knows so much what Hashem is that that's all he wants, until he feels, I'm not separate from Hashem, I'm just a tool to reveal Him in this world, and Hashem is acting towards me, and His light is resting upon me, and is being revealed by way of me and in me. And on this level, the person is mamash resting inside the truth, with simple emunah, clear, simple emunah that en od milvado, there's nothing besides Hashem. This is how you see all of the reality, everything that's happening to you, and you take upon yourself to now go into the new week and to reveal the oneness of Hashem, to cling to Hashem with a place of mesirut nefesh, of self-sacrifice, to not go after my false desires, my desires of vanity and of sheker of this world, to recognize the oneness of Hashem in every situation, to go only after Hashem, to want only Hashem. And if that's the case, then I'll only want to do His will in a fashion that I decide that I have nothing in my life besides doing the will of Hashem, the will that He willed for me in this world. And you beg Hashem that you should merit to this, that you shouldn't go off the path of the internal will, the true will that is being revealed right now in Suda Shlishit, in Mincha. Not only that, sometimes you merit to feel from within the darkness. You feel the light inside the darkness, the light at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes you receive this in a dark sitting, and it doesn't feel nice. It's not a nice presence. And then you have to strengthen yourself, and you have to understand that this darkness, it is the tool itself, that by way of that I'll be able to acquire the light on a deeper sense, to want only Hashem, to be a vehicle for His expression in this world. Because if a person continues to chase after Hashem, even in the darkness, from an understanding that there is nothing besides Him, and you only towards Hashem, and you're only wanting Hashem, by way of this you make a true internal acquisition of the oneness of Hashem. And by way of that you have the ability to stand strong with loyalty in all of the hardships, and Hashem will illuminate for you afterwards sevenfold. Be'ezrat Hashem itbarach. May Hashem bless us all with His light. We need it. We need to continue chasing after HaKadosh Baruch Hu and everything that we're doing. And may this light go for all of the soldiers. That all of the soldiers, mamash, should have this light in them. And all the hardship that they're going through, and all of the chatufim, all of the captives, that they should know that Hashem is there with them. And through this darkness, they're going to have huge light, and they themselves usually turn out to be the biggest lights for the rest of the nation of Israel and for the whole entire world. And B'ezrat Hashem, may all of them come back, all of the sparks be regathered here in Sion, with the Binyan Beit HaMikdash, B'meira B'yameinu, Amen. Amen. And we had a question here: why do you keep referring to Hashem? Why do we keep referring to Hashem as Him only? Doesn't Hashem represent the expression of God, of Keter, risen above, anthropomorphication? Kitzu, the Torah uses examples of human beings because we are human beings and we have human brains. So for us to understand some of these ideas, we use personification, not to personify, in order to give over an analogy and a parable for us to be able to understand it. And immediately, this is part of learning Kabbalah, to throw away what you see with your eyes and what you hear with your ears, and to understand the neshama of what's being said. And anytime we refer to Hashem as masculine, it is Hashem influencing over us, right? And anytime we talk about Hashem in the feminine, that is the Shekhinah being the actualization of that revelation and our interaction with it. That's one thing. What else here? There was one other question, I think. No, and that's it. B'ezrat Hashem yitbarach. Toda rabah.